Hi, y'all. Welcome.
Oh, should I also mute? I don't know.
I just realized that I'm playing music and I'm muted.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't know.
Hey y'all, what's up?
I didn't want to say anything, but I was like, you know what, it's a vibe.
Yeah, I really wasn't sure if I should say that.
Love that this is the energy we're walking into. Oh my god. Well.
We were totally going with you, though. We were jamming.
We were jamming to literally the silence.
Nothing. Yeah,
It was great.
It's like, talk about being supportive as fuck. We're like, you know what, we're still gonna jam.
Yep.
Give it like a couple more minutes. Why does this make me want to, like, go to the club, though?
I mean, is this not a club?
It is a club. Right you are. Right you are.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kiko. Thank you so much for coming to our event. We are Creators Thrift. We are a Chicago Artist Resource Center working to lay down the groundwork for artists to lead institutional support. Today we are interviewing and having a conversation with Tracie Kunzika. I am a graphic designer and facilitator for Creators Thrift, and I will let everyone else introduce themselves.
Hello, I am Jessie. My role here at Creators Thrift is to be an artist freedom advocate. And what that means is just being, that point of contact for you, that point of resource, that if you ever need anything, a question answered, any kind of connect for you to create your art and break away from institutions that are just either putting roadblocks in front of you, holding you down, or not absolutely embracing who you are as an artist, with whatever that means as far as the spectrum of who you are as a person. I definitely want to be that person that is that resource for you and gives you that, extra good feeling and vibes and everything in between, so you can create dope and amazing things. And I'm just incredibly grateful to be a part of this with Kiko and Bibi, who are two of the most amazing people in the world. And I am so pumped to have Tracie, because, oh my God, I love them already.
Yes, it's a really awesome working at such a cool group of collaborators, because these institutions aren't here for us, but we're creating a place where we can rely on each other and not on institutions. It's like favorite thing to just quickly say about Creators Thrift. So my name is Bibi, my pronouns are they, them, and I am the messenger hawk for Creators Thrift, which means that one of the initiatives that we have is having folks fill out a survey so that we can assess folks' needs. And what we'll be doing is helping to connect all of y'all. I wish I had a hawk sound to go with it, but we can imagine it. Yes. And I want us to also jump into a couple of agreements and things before we jump all the way in. Let me pull these up here. Okay, so before we jump in, we would like to set our intentions for today's gathering by stating our group agreements and acknowledgments. So first, we like to acknowledge the land that we occupy as of the Council of Three Fires, the Ojibwe, Ottawa, and the Potawatomi nations, from what we know. And something that I've been doing to help me connect more with the land is I've attended a forage and plant walk with Brown People Foundation. It's an organization that is dedicated to they do a lot of forage and plant walks throughout the city of Chicago. The one that I went to was in Washington Park, and I got to walk around and see what types of different plants were there and identify them, and figuring out like physical and metaphysical meanings of the plant. So it was really cool to connect out there, and I was able to sit like on a tree. I really connect with trees, so it was an awesome experience. I've put in the chat a Instagram link to one of their posts, so go ahead and follow the Brown People Foundation and check them out. They're really great. I also want to acknowledge that earlier this week, there was a protest led by the youth of the Kenwood Oakland Community Organization called We March for Her. This is the 4th annual March for Missing Black and Brown Women and Girls in Chicago. And they're a really great organization. You should definitely check them out if you haven't heard of them. It's the Kenwood Oakland Community Organization, or fondly called COCO. And I've got a link that I'll post in the chat to a post about the We March for Her protest that was led earlier this week. So you can check them out and follow them and get involved next year, because they do it around June every year towards the end of school, since it's youth led. They do that to close out the year. And finally, I'm going to pass it back over to Jesse. The last thing we would like to acknowledge in today's gathering is that we are still in a pandemic. Things are opening. It's nice outside. There's lots going on and lots of transitions and things that are happening. So we really thank you all for choosing to be here with us today. So I'll pass it over to Jesse, who's going to go over our group agreements.
Thank you so much, Bibi. So just one thing to keep in mind with all of us being here is that we ask that each person take care of themselves before anything else. This means if you need to go to the bathroom, get food or water, please prioritize your body and your needs at all times during the discussion. Next, we want you to be aware of our social environment while we are sharing the floor. We want to center and push forth, Black, Brown, and Indigenous voices. If you are white and wanting to speak, please ask yourself, is what I'm going to say adding to the conversation or repeating what has been said? Or have I spoken more than others in the group? Because again, we want to push for, Black, Brown, Indigenous voices before anything else. The next thing that we want to bring to mind is the ouch, oops, pause, please. So if there's any moment when any of you feel like you're confused, uncomfortable, and or harmed, please feel free to write ouch in the chat publicly or privately message one of the facilitators, which would be Kiko, Bibi, or myself. If you feel harmed in any way, if you feel free to write ouch in the chat or privately. After this, we will take time to discuss how you would like to move forward. If you caused an ouch, we ask that you take a breath and say oops before you say anything else. So we ask you to just keep in mind that somebody feels hurt by you, so don't get defensive. And our final agreement would be to come with an open heart. So whatever that means to you, we ask you to just open up your heart to us. So that is it for our agreements. And I'm gonna pass it off to Kiko.
Yes, thank you so much for those acknowledgments and those agreements. If we can just get everyone in the chat to put I agree so that we can move forward, so we can start the conversation up with Tracie. Okay. And so now it's just gonna be me and the guest artist, Tracie Kunzika. Tracie is a Chicago-based artist and personally a really good friend of mine. They're Black, trans, and a digital creator. They are also a music maker, video editor, and a pro gamer on Twitch stream. When they are not binge watching shows like Star Trek, they take commissions for graphic and motion design, live stream management, video editing, and music production. Tracie hopes that they can help push people back against capitalism in order to help them experience the joy that they are owed. Later, we're going to be putting Tracie's link tree into our link tree. And also, Tracie's Venmo is Kunzika. So if you are like, wow, I feel so inspired by all of this, I'm so thankful to be hearing Tracie speak, we will definitely be putting Tracie's Venmo in the chat so you can send some dollars, send Black trans people money during this Pride. So yes, thank you so much, Tracie, for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you to everyone who's involved with Creators Thrift. This is such a beautiful environment, so I'm just so grateful to be here.
Oh my God, we're grateful to have you. So like I said, it is Pride. So the first question that I want to ask you, what brings you pride in your work, or how does pride show up in your work?
I think something when I think of pride, what am I proud of in my work? I really love the attention to detail that I have. I don't know how many people have watched any of my videos or anything, but the basketball video that I made, so I had to add on a basketball to my hands moving in front of a green screen. And so I literally was sitting there okay, my hands are moving here, let me move the basketball here, my hands are moving here, basketball moving here. I take painstakingly each moment is meaningful, in especially with I'm editing videos, or but that's just one example. I feel like I take that kind of energy and I pour it into everything that I do. I like to be very attentive in the art that I make, and making sure that as much of it has meaning as possible. And then also I don't know, I'm very prideful of the way that I let my imagination and my creativity flow. I feel like I still block myself in a lot of ways, but I'm just proud of being able to show as much of myself in with the eyes that I have, and in the way that I do.
I definitely, okay, I'm a really big fan of yours. I have seen a lot of your YouTube videos, and I definitely do see that intent and detail, not only in your music videos, but also in the way you are in community with folks, and also your Twitch stream. I feel like you make sure that everything has a purpose.
Yeah, that's such a perfect way to put it. Yeah, I really love when things have purpose. So like I want everything to be as meaningful as possible. And I'm glad that you see that in me.
Yes. Okay, so also like I said, like you're on Twitch, you're on YouTube, like you make music, you do all these different things. Like how did you grow that big, right? Like how did you realize that you have more than one talent, and how did you move forward with that?
hmm I think that was mostly just like curiosity. Like there are so many things that like grab my interest. Like I'll see something and I'll just be so amazed by it. Like, oh wow. Like I'll watch like a video of somebody like crocheting a sweater and be like, wow, somebody like went out and made that. And like they just decided one day, I'm gonna take this yarn and I'm gonna like learn how to crochet. And I'm like, I'm gonna do that too. I want to do that thing too. Like I did that with building my own computer. I do that with video editing. I do that with music. Like I'm a self-taught musician. I'm a self-taught like sound designer. I'm self-taught in pretty much everything. I think I'm also like just so good at using the internet because I grew up with like learning CDs and like pretty much like my youngest interactions were with a computer and the pieces of technology. So like I feel like I know how to utilize it in a way that like I make it work for me. And by doing that, I like have opened myself up to so much of the world and I'm like just able to learn at my own discretion.
Wow. Yeah, I'm not that curious. Like you built your own fucking computer. That is like a whole new level. But
I do
like
the
all
most.
where do you think that curiosity stems from, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh yeah. Honestly, like it's so hard to say. Like it could be like I watch a YouTube video and like I see somebody doing something. Somebody could like have mentioned like in a conversation where we're talking about like I don't know, technology or we're talking about different art forms and like just like learning about the way that other people will see the world or the things that other people do kind of makes me like say to myself like, could I do that myself? Like, do I want to do that? Yeah. Like, am I gonna try and do it? Probably. Like, is this something I like? It looks cool. Like if I think it looks cool and if I think it's I'm I don't even think like I think it's easy to do, but it's like, is it something that I would want to learn how to do? Or do I think I can figure it out? I kind of just like go for it. I don't know. It's just so inherent, like just latching onto so many different things.
I love that. It feels like abundant. With okay, so with all this learning and stuff, like how do you juggle it all? Because like I said, you have so many talents, and before the pandemic, like I said, I'm a fan. I I like saw you post a lot of videos on YouTube while also being on stage and being booked and busy, and like not only performing with like just you and your music, but also like performing with different groups or like duets, and all these different things. So how did you juggle that all while also expanding your learning?
Mm-hmm. Honestly, it's like kind of like I feel like I had a very unhealthy approach to things. Like my my mental health suffers because my interests take precedence. Um and I'm just like thinking back to school, like I was literally doing the most. I was in an improv group. I was in like a two-person thing. I was doing my own stuff. I was in classes. I was like work. Like I was doing so much. But like I couldn't stop. Well, okay, I have a problem with saying no. These are things that I'm working on, okay? For the record. I have had I'm working on saying no. It's very hard to do because everything seems so exciting. Like I said, like I have this inherent curiosity and like this willingness to do and like to be a part and to like learn all these different things. And it's also really hard for me to say no because I really want to please people. So it's like navigating both of those things, especially when I'm working in groups. Um, but also since the pandemic like has like happened and like is happening, like I still have been able to put so many things on my plate regardless of whether I'm employed or not. And I feel like that also it's still like a matter of like me not knowing how to manage my mental health. It's like this is also why if you're waiting for me to post a video on YouTube, like I haven't, because I have to reevaluate my relationship to video editing, because whenever I went to sit down to edit a video, I would like really hone in on it and like sit there for hours and hours on end, just like, oh, I'm perfecting like this one little thing, or like I'm like just like sitting here like listening to the song over and over, like, what can I tweak, what can I do, like really fixated on it, and like neglecting my like physical body, like neglecting like other things that happen in my life. And so it's like the way that I would juggle it is just by getting through it and like not sleeping and like not taking care of myself. And so I had to actually like step back and like reevaluate and be like, okay, like the most recent way that I express myself and like what I'm gonna go back into is like more live streaming, Twitch streaming. Been really enjoying that, and it's something that I can manage and not feel like overly anxious about, because I've also been experiencing anxiety with my video editing. Um, it's like I'm trying to take this as like a chance to reapproach the way that I interact with my art, and like having setting boundaries and like being more mindful instead of like getting lost and honed into like one thing.
Thank you for sharing that and like being vulnerable and just saying that like, hey, like I did all this shit at the cost of like my mental, like I don't, there's this whole culture of bitch, I'm booked and busy and yeah, I'm doing this and
Yes.
this and that. And also to folks who do that, congratulations. You must have some fire energy, or some air energy. I know you have some air energy. So yeah, and at the same time, it's like, at what point does it become like grind culture where you're literally just like working to the bone? And so I really like how you said how you're reevaluating what art forms are causing your mental health to take a toll, and how you are putting up boundaries. Can you, if you don't mind me asking, like, when did you know that you needed to put up a boundary with like video making?
Mm-hmm. Actually, I feel like one of my more recent projects, like I would say like even before the last video that I posted, like I was noticing I was working on this video that I was actually getting paid to do. I was like editing this video, and because of the deadline, I was kind of like, okay, let me just like hone in and like do this thing and like get like I was like fixated and like really trying to make sure that I like completed it within the timeline, which that like speaks to kind of like my working habits as well. Like I'm a big procrastinator, and like I wait to the last minute and try to like rush things, but also like that kind of energy that I like experienced doing that is also how I feel like when I get really overly excited about personal projects too. But like I really noticed it with video editing when I was doing that job, and like that's when I noticed like, okay, like this might be a thing. And then I noticed the pattern continuing, and then like also reflecting on like past video editing and then like the video editing that I was trying to do. Like it's like I can't always hone into that mindset if I'm not like in the correct headspace. It's really hard to fall into it. It's like either I have someone else who's like pushing me, or I'm like really excited about it. It's not something that I can just be like, ah yes, let's turn on the switch and like get into video editing mode. So when I realized that like it's not something that I like have like full control of, that's when I realized like, oh, maybe I need to reevaluate how I approach this. Maybe I need to reevaluate like what I need when I'm video editing. And it's still something that I don't have the answer to, because I've kind of been afraid of video editing, because last time I tried, or like I still have, yeah, like the last time I tried, it's like I have like something just like sitting in my my video editing software. It's just like half done. I've been revisiting it and leaving and revisiting it and leaving because it's like, I don't know, it doesn't hit. It's like not exactly what I was expecting it to turn out to be, or maybe I don't have like a full fleshed out idea. It's like it's very hard. And so I'm not even sure what I need in order to move forward, but I know that I need to like still play around with what these new boundaries look like when it comes to video editing.
I thank you so much also for saying that you do not have all the answers. I think it takes a process of like trial and error, kind of how you were saying, of knowing what boundaries you need to have with your artistic career. And I don't even like saying artistic career, or career in general, because that just feels too capitalistic to me. But it I think that there's like an idea in the artist world. First, like the word creator, like that creator, like we are making things, right? And so that already has some context to it. And there's this saying that's like, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. That is completely false.
It's a lie.
It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a myth. It's bullshit. Yes, BB.
Yup.
It's because we live in this capitalist society. And I also love how you're like, I have something like sitting in my editing folder. I don't know what it's called, but like editing stuff. And I go in and out of it. And that's right. Like we have, as artists, we have the power to be like, this is halfway done and that's just what it's going to be, and I'll come back to it when I want to come back to it, and if it's not, then it's done. And it doesn't, also art doesn't always have to be published. Yes. Like it doesn't always have to be recognized. And I think, sometimes you make art, making shitty art is, and like having it be half done is, sometimes that's what your body needs, and that's what your mental health needs.
Yes. And actually something that I've been talking with my therapist about is like trying to utilize video editing as a medium for me personally. Like I think my next project when I revisit video editing is like to make a video just for me, like not something that I want to share publicly, like not something that is for something else, like because that is what gives me a lot of anxiety when I'm editing for YouTube. It's like other people are going to see this. I have this idea that other people have this expectation of me that like that I'm supposed to appear this certain way on the internet. And so I don't know if I'm matching that idea. I don't know if like what this is what I'm expecting it to be. And so that like that voice and like other contradictory voices will like clutter my headspace whenever I just want to create something and I want to express myself. It's like, how can I truly be a creative person if I'm restricting myself constantly? So like I think that's going to be my next step. It's like stepping back, creating just for the sake of creation, not for the sake of trying to be a popular YouTuber, which like yes is a goal and it's valid for me to have, but like that shouldn't be my, I'm really trying to reorient, like that's not my foundation. Like that is not a stable foundation to have going into any creative field. Like, oh, the only thing I want to do with this is to be big. Like it's like it's okay to have that as like an aspiration, but I need to revisit why I love video editing, and I need to do that just like over here, like
Yes, and I also think that in the artist world, in my own experience, there's so much focus on the audience or the person who is booking you rather than you as an artist yourself. And yeah, and like, let's be real. Okay, like these bitches aren't paying you. Sometimes if you make it to a certain level, then yes, the bitches are paying you. But like it takes a while, and sometimes you never get to a point where bitches are paying you. Yes. And so like, why, in the possibility of possibly getting underpaid one day, why would you sacrifice yourself?
Makes
and
no
like your own mental
sense.
health. It makes no sense. I mean, capitalism, right?
Yes.
On the goo goo gaga brain. Um, but yeah, I'll move on to my next question. Um, where do you where do you see your art moving forward now that you have these boundaries and you have more of an idea of like what you want to create and how it's going to be for yourself?
Mm, that's a very good question. I I feel like moving forward, I'm trying to capture. I don't know if this is cheesy to say as an artist, but like I'm trying to capture this like raw energy.
I
Like
love cheese. I love cheese. Oh my god, please give me some nachos. Give it.
I just like I want to practice being like radically honest and like very vulnerable and open. Like, and I feel like this space is really allowing me to like dive into that. So literally, thank you. Like, I want to be able to express myself without like fear of judgment, with just like this, I want to feel like I'm on a playground when I'm using my art. Like, I like bought this retro camcorder. It's like from the 2000s or something. And like I've just been like recording like random stuff. Okay, most of it is like video diaries and a lot of it is me crying, but there's other parts. And I'm like, "Ooh, like what if I like just like did something with this footage?" And like I don't know, just like capturing moments of myself that are like just very me, very honest, very like stripped down. So that's like one side of like the future of my art. But I also wanted to get like hella more digital. Like I said, like I'm very interested in like technology, and I have been interested in technology from a very young age. Like having educational CDs be like one of my primary learning sources before going to school, like very much impacted me. And like I want to like I want to be able to learn how to code. Like I'm going to be making a website, and I also want to learn how to there's this application called Blender. So I want to like learn how to make like 3D art like in a digital space, and like implement that also into my art. So like I feel like I want my art to feel like a big collage of like I want it to feel like a scrapbook, but like also like multimedia art, but like in a digital sense. You know what I mean? Like,
I fucking love that. I love that so much. That really spoke to me. Also, I love that your little camcorder is you crying. I may not look like it, y'all, but I'm an emo bitch. And so I love that. I also really like how you said how you're trying to practice more radical honesty and vulnerability, because that is the way I believe that you get closer to folks. I believe that is also how you learn what your needs are and what your boundaries are. So I love that you're practicing that, as not only, I'm assuming, well, yes, because we are friends, so we practice that in our interpersonal relationship.
yes.
And that, I think that's why we are such good friends. And I
Mhm.
also love that you're practicing that in your art making. I think
Yeah.
that's fucking awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we're gonna go to my last question so that we can open up the floor. Okay, so how has your community, or community in general, whatever that means to you, supported you? And also, how do you want your community to support you now and moving forward?
Mm. Well, honestly, this community, like communities that I like vibe in, like, well, for one thing, they monetarily support me on Twitch, on like Instagram. Okay, I grew up poor. I mean, probably a lot of us grew up poor, but like, I don't know. It's like, it's so weird to like ask for money and be like, oh, can you help me out? I'm struggling. And so I am just extremely grateful that like when I ask, like when I'm like, hey, like I need some money, like could you send me some? Like the community literally follows through, either by like just directly sending me money or being like, hey, like, and like I also made that video that was like, oh, here's all of my skills and like you can hire me for stuff. It's like they'll literally be like, okay, I have a job for you. Like I want to use your skills and like exchange goods for that. Like and either exchanging that for money or exchanging my goods for more knowledge. So it's like I'm, for one, very grateful for like all of the money that I have been able to get from people, because like that literally has helped me feel very stable and like helped me like eat food and like pay my rent and like just like feel stable. But then also like I said, there are moments where I exchange my goods for other goods, like for knowledge, and like that is definitely a thanks to BB. Like specifically, BB has opened up my eyes to a mutual exchange. We've done it twice already, and I will be doing it some more. And just like learning how to like navigate social media in a way that is like kind of just like more in tune with how the algorithm works, or like what like there's like search engine optimization stuff. It's like that was very helpful for me to like get some insight on. And then also like being able to learn a bit about coding. Like I'm still very intimidating. I'm been very intimidated by like coding, because it's like it's a whole new medium. It's literally speaking computer. And so I'm like, oh no, I don't know if I can do this, but I still know that I have the tools to be able to start really diving into that when I'm ready. And so that I feel like is one of the best things about communities, like being able to like share the things that I know, because like I know a lot of things and I would love to help others understand them better, like to learn something, like, and being able to learn also like that, it's wonderful. And then also like something else that is very invaluable to me is literally just people who will watch my videos or like interact with me on social media and like say like, you know, this is really relatable, or like I really liked this, because like it's very I am big imposter syndrome brain. Like my brain loves to lie. And whenever I like sit down, especially if I'm in a bad headspace, like when I'm like, I need to be, which I never need to be doing anything, but like, oh, I need to be editing a video, I need to be making music, and like I try to sit down and I'm like, "Ah, man, I'm not a good artist, like I'm just a fraud, all this stuff." Like it's so hard to remember when people have said nice things to me, but like when I do see it and like people like really love my art and like really relate to it and connect with it, like it makes me feel good that like my art is actually doing something tangible for other people. Like it is actually, I'm actually connecting with people, like people understand me, and I feel like I understand them better too because they relate to me. And so like that, and that I feel like that alone inspires me to like not give up completely. Like it just like it just warms my heart, and like I can't ask for anything more.
If you want to support Tracie right now, Venmo Trunzika TRUNZIKA. I'll say it again. Venmo TRUNZIKA.
Yes.
Thank you so much for having this talk with me. I want to talk to you more, but I feel like I could just call you tomorrow.
Yeah, you can.
So I'm gonna not be selfish and open up the floor to everyone else. If you have any questions, if you just want a fan person, I don't want to say fangirl, that feels weird.
I know there needs to be a new term for that.
For real, if you want to be a little groupie to Tracie, we're opening up the floor. Yeah, feel more than welcome. You can also turn on your camera.
Yes, let me see your face if you want to. No, baby.
I'm so sad. You have my mind like so blown. Like thinking about like applying needs and boundaries to like art practice, I'm like, the answer was there all along. The limit does not exist, you know, like whew, words.
Mhm.
And I just really, okay, so I will groupie it up for just a quick second, because there was a time when and I've told you this before, but I don't care, I'm going to tell you again because I'll tell you forever. I was doing an event that was actually like a community care for other people. And I was really, really anxious throughout the whole event. So even though we were doing like meditation and like thinking about our goals and stuff the whole time, I was just like, okay, I hope that everyone is like doing, the facilitator thing.
Mhm.
And afterward, I just could not come down. I could not be grounded. I couldn't find my center. I was still up in that just really anxious mode. And so I started watching like a ton of your videos, and that was the only thing that actually like calmed me down and like actually brought me back to earth. And I was like, I don't know, just like standing and dancing, like, we are playing basketball all the time, bro. Like everything, it really just like the art that you make for like me has been like something that really just like warms me and really like feels very much like at home. I don't know quite how to describe it other than that. So I just like really appreciate you and all of your just honesty. Really, it's honesty and vulnerability, whether you're like speaking in this interview or through your music or like when you're playing on Twitch, like everything is just very like words don't really, they don't really suffice. So I'm just grateful. That's all.
Like, I remember you telling me about that, and that like it warmed my heart then, and it's like, warming my heart now. Like, I'm just glad that like things that I can create can have any impact on anyone else. So like the fact that it really like helped you in that moment, like I'm grateful that you were able to get that out of my art. So literally, like, thank you. Even though it's like you're thanking me, but I'm thanking you too.
Right. It's mutual,
Yes.
in that way. Mutual aid, y'all. It can happen even in compliments, affirmations. That's what it is. That's also part of like community support too. So something that you mentioned is something that I've seen just a lot of community showing up. But I feel like there was this one time where I saw on Twitch, someone like came through and did a raid. I don't know anything, but it was like a bunch of other people came in and they like subscribed and all this stuff. So I guess another, I don't know, I guess it wouldn't be another question, but I think it's so cool how much community has been like influenced by your experience and how you reflect that. Cause I think you give so much to your community as well, even if you might not recognize it, I suspect you give so much to community. So the fact that you receive that is like really awesome.
Wow. Like, and you were on the nose, like, that I do not see. Like, I really, all I can see is all the things that I could do more for my community. Like, I am always thinking about like, because we're talking about Twitch, like I have like a Discord server, and that's like like a really direct place where like we can like connect and communicate and like talk about things. I'm like, oh, I still need to do this and I still need to do that, and I got to create this channel for this, and like I have to do this for my Twitch. Like I'm constantly always like, I need to be doing more, and like I never feel like I'm doing enough. So just like, thank you, because it's very hard for me to step back and like and recognize, and this is something that I think more people need to do and I need to do, and that is not normalized, but just like taking a breath, looking back, and like acknowledging your accomplishments. Like I need to acknowledge my accomplishments.
Yes. Listen, it's things I'm saying to you, also saying to me, like big time. I think that's part of like the like capitalistic like mindset. I think we all really like you were talking about like struggling, that grind culture,
Mhm.
it's all that same like, but we can't ever do enough until we're deceased.
Right. It's like we just work ourselves until till we can't work no more. Like
Some-
what kind of life? Oh, what were we gonna say?
Oh no, continue, finish, please.
That was all I was gonna
Okay.
say.
Something that was coming to my mind was like slime. Now hear me out. So it's like, how do you, like you said, like I need to be doing more, right? And I'm just like thinking of like our creativity and like art and creation and like, yeah, as like a giant slime, right? And it can expand, right? It can expand, and it can also take different shapes. So it's like, how do I keep this slime together? Do I want to expand it? Does that seem like too much? Or does it just need to be in a different container? Or does it need to just like sit on the floor? Right. And so that's something that's coming to mind. It's like, oh, this doesn't have to be more. Maybe it just needs to be a little bit more left than right.
Okay, and okay, this is gonna be very nerdy of me, but when you said slime, it reminded me of Star Trek, and there's this character on Deep Space Nine who is literally like a shape-shifting like goo person, and like a big part of like his like story arc is that like, you know, he's the only one of his kind. He doesn't really know anything about like any other changelings, and once he like finally meets them, he like learns like, oh, he doesn't have to just like pretend to be human all the time. He can morph into all of these other shapes. Like he used to sleep in a bucket because like his natural state is to just be this like lifeless goo type thing, and he used to like sleep in a bucket because it was like, I'm embarrassed, like no one needs to see me, I just like will be in the bucket in the corner. But then he like was like, you know, over time he got his own room in the space station, and he like would like transform himself into like different like abstract art pieces, and like he really like grew into himself. And it's like that analogy was just like, it makes me want to watch Star Trek again and just like look at his character and be like, I need to be like him.
This character just sounds trans to me and gender fluid to me. That's what I just got out of it.
Okay, there's many queer coded, trans coded characters in Star Trek. If you like science fiction, okay, Star Trek is for you, and specifically Deep Space Nine. But all of them, well, just TNG, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager. We don't need to. I have to stop talking about Star Trek. Okay, yes, Data. Okay, I see Data. Data. I love Data. My roommate literally got me Data stickers for my birthday. So like, we love Star Trek. When I say we, I mean.
Do we have any other questions or comments for Tracie?
I love all of you anyway. You know, you don't have to ask me anything.
Yes, BB?
There's two things that are crossing my mind. One is like, can you see my Yoda just like staring out the window behind me? Because I was about to ask my question and then I like got distracted by what's already my own screen, just staring like longing at the window. But I'm also okay. So I'm also wondering, like, with in placing like needs and boundaries, like with your art, have there been things that you've like tried that haven't worked, or things that tried that did work? Like when you say like you're having like a different approach, I wonder like what is that? What does a different approach mean? Is it like maybe meditating beforehand, or just curious about like what you've tried?
Okay, meditating beforehand is definitely an approach that I try. I tried and I try to do. It's so hard to spend time to be mindful because it's so hard for me to validate literally doing anything, and for me to validate sitting somewhere and just like not doing anything, like just concentrating on my breath feels like a waste of time, even though it's not. It's like mindfulness is a meaningful practice. So that's something I've tried, like doing like a little bit of like 5-minute, 10-minute, like when I'm working, like I'll do that before I like try to jump into a project. Well, okay. I had a session where of like working on a video editing project where before it, I did a meditation. And then like if I got to a place where I was like really in my headspace of like, oh, this isn't great, this isn't what I'm expecting, like really frustrated with myself, instead of just like closing up the application altogether, sitting back, doing like 5 more minutes of mindfulness, getting back into it and like seeing how that worked. And that actually like did help. I have not revisited this approach, but it was something that was helpful. Something else too that I have tried is like setting Pomodoro timers. So like the Pomodoro technique is like it's like these little like timer things, and it's like you do 25 minutes of like all you have to do is work for 25 minutes. Don't think of anything else. Like if you have distractions, maybe like have like a little notebook that you like write down like any straggling thoughts, but then go right back to your work. And then the timer will go off. You get like 5 or 10 minutes. You can honestly like change up the different time instances. But I've tried that. That it's a little bit harder to do, but like I can recognize it as a useful tool, and I will be trying that method again. And I try to do that whenever like I have something where it's like I don't want to like do it, and it's like I like am trying to do it but I'm distracted. It's like, okay, let me just put the clock on. This is all I have to do. Just for these 25 minutes, that's all I'm gonna do. I don't have to do any more and any less. And then once I like get into the swing of it, I'm kind of like, okay, I actually like doing this and I'm like having fun and I want to keep going. So
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing those.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's just interesting to think. I don't know. I think like as I get older, I'm looking like literally everything is like a relationship. So relationship with myself, relationship with my body. Now it's like this is opening up another thing of like relationship with the art and like types of medium. And recognizing when it's toxic, like a toxic relationship with those
Yeah.
things.
And it's like, even though it's like mostly a positive thing for you, like it can still be something that you might need to work on, or just like need to acknowledge and say, like, what's up? Like, what is this? Define the relationship in all your relationships.
Define the relationship to your art. That I want that on a t-shirt.
Are y'all like in the talking stage? How many
Right.
dates has it been?
Literally.
Are we getting to third
Right.
base on Saturday? Like,
Yeah.
what's going on?
Do y'all need to go to therapy? Like, are y'all
How long
is
has
your
it been like this?
how long has it been like this? Is your art demanding too much of you?
Mm,
Uh-oh.
you might need to talk
Are
to
you
somebody
putting
about that.
unrealistic expectations on your art?
Oh my God. When you're toxic to each other.
And that's how we're ending our event today.
It's too loud. It's too loud in here.
Yeah, we need to
Wrap it up. Wrap it up.
Oh my God. Okay, well, I'm gonna wrap it up. Thank you so much, Tracie, for talking to us about the expanding of and not expanding, the accordion, the slime of your art making. And yeah, again, Tracie's Venmo is TRUNZIKA. It is in the chat. Happy Pride, everyone. And I hope you have a lovely night. Take care of yourselves.
Bye. Thank you.
Yay,
Bye, everyone.
bye. Thank you, Tracie.
Of course.
Thank you.